Thank you for clicking on our video. This is Taking on the Thames. We're down on our favourite spot today, airplanes and all, but I'm hoping that it's going to be better than it was last time when we come down on the float. The sun's out now, which is nice, but I'll tell you what, there's still a bit of a chill in the air. Summer is definitely over. There's a little bleep there, you can hear that. We've got the big boy rod out there on a dead bait again as usual. I'm going to wait until we've got some consistent cold weather to start going over to the meat for a couple of sessions and not see if we can nick a cheeky barbel out of this area. I mean, that's being brave, that, because at the minute, going on the last trip that we had here, we were struggling even to get a little perch, and that was on the float. But today we've come down a bit later. It's been a nice day, but there's been a bit of rain in the air, but we are set up for that anyway. But I'm hoping that being on the feeder again will give us them slightly bigger fish than what we would expect off the float. And I'll put it in the famous tree there on the first chuck. That's a good start. That's a better one. What will old Father Thames bring us today? Joy and happiness, or depression and gloom? We shall see. We've got bites on the drop immediately, so already it's proving to be a better day than the last time. I've done what I always do. I'll put some ground bait out there before I start fishing. That could be a little bit short, that cast, but we will see. I won't leave it too long. I want to try and angle my nuts off today. Try and make up for the devastating episode we had last time. And get at least some silvers and some perch on the go. We'll flick a little trickle of maggots out there. Back on the bronze maggots again. Just to give them a whirl. Could have been weather conditions last time, you know, like I don't know if you remember, but I think the day before that we come down that day, we had a real bad rain spell. And although the water's still cloudy now, the flow isn't nowhere near as bad as it was then. It's calmed down quite a bit. So fingers crossed. We're not getting much there. So I'm going to try and be a bit more consistent in placing this in the same spot every time, which is kind of just beyond the tree really, rather than this side of it. No bites on the drop that time. Might fish until dark. The nights are definitely coming in a lot sooner now than what they were before. Got some bites there. The daytime does not hang around no more. Be nice if that pike rod goes tearing off early in the trip. That will put us in good stead. Place your bets now on what the first fish will be. Write it down in the old comments. And don't cheat. Write it down there now. Write it down there right now. A perch, chub, roach. Or will it be something that we haven't had yet? Could be a pike. We'll Definitely getting way more action today than we was on the float last time. But this is going to be a bit of a problem. A little bit of debris on the hook there, with everything beginning to fall from the trees. It's all going straight in the water. Someone's put some thumbtacks in the edge of this swim, which is really nice, because what happens is my line gets caught under it all the time. So you might see me digging that out at some point soon. The last thing I need to do is snap off because of something silly like that. No hesitation now, back out there, just in front of that tree, whop. Got to just whip the line off the branch. That's how close we're getting to it. That seems to be the more successful place. I'll stick my gloves on before we start smashing into any perch. Couple of small twitches again. These are all good signs, but of course this river likes to just all of a sudden die off. Want to maybe be careful to not overfeed the swim this time, you know. Still getting twitches there. Give me something a little bit better to strike into, please. Let's just hope it's not oblique. We're in. Feels like a nice fish actually. So half decent perch, and I'm going to net him. So I don't want to risk it. Get in now. That's not bad at all now, is it? I mean, if this is a sign of things to come on this session, I will be more than happy catching these all day long. I mean, they obviously get bigger than that in here, but this is by no means the smallest perch that we've had. It's probably on par with the biggest one we've had so far this year. So that is a very nice start indeed. Let's slip this guy back. Away you go, mate. Splosh. River's high, but still a fair old drop off the end of the jetty. Good start. So, who got it right? Half decent perch. Did anyone write that down in the comments? Get that back up there where it belongs. Very nice. I am now, I mean, anticipation when you start a session is always sky high, isn't it? But with that being the first fish, it's sky high again. And you know what I might do? I might just be cheeky. Might just be cheeky here. I've got some big old worms. Let's stick a big old worm on. Because you never know. That might be the smallest one that's down there. Look at the size of that worm, mate. Get that out there. Just beyond the tree. I mean, this is risking it, but that's the place that always does me pretty well. I won't expect bites too quickly with that big old worm on there, but we'll give it a few minutes, that's for sure. And of course, we can always go back on the maggots afterwards if it doesn't work. The weird thing about that perch was that was a pretty delicate bite. I think the smaller perch tend to be a lot more aggressive than the ones that are around that size and up. I think that worm might have been a bit too ambitious for the start of the session. Probably a good idea to keep hold of them for the witchy hour. What we could always do is, next time we chuck the worm out, is just snip it in half. Trouble is, I'm still on them size 12 hooks. I don't really want to go much bigger than that, because then by the time you start putting maggots on, it starts looking a bit silly. You know, you've got 36 maggots on a size 6 hook. But a worm like that on a size 6 hook, on a size 6 rather, sits on there real nice. But then we really are eliminating a lot of other stuff like roach, the slightly smaller chub, and there just isn't enough bigger sized fish in here to be putting all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, he's done nothing. He's drowned. That's what he's done. He's gone and drowned. Just slip that off. We'll save him for later. I've given to old Rodney, but I think he'll struggle with that. A big old night crawler. We've still got quite a few maggots in that feeder. I do like the way that they don't just rush out of it immediately. I'll stick a couple of maggots on. I would still like to see some more roach come out, because they've just been so few and far between this year. We've had plenty of chub, not of a great size, but the juvenile stuff there's been loads of. Roach wise, I think, what have I had, maybe in the entire series so far, 3 or 4? Again, just slightly past that tree. I can hear you, Rodney. Come down then, you can have some maggots. Yeah. Threw them over there and they all fell down the crack. Couple of very small twitches there, but I say but, I mean, that bigger perch just now wasn't, didn't exactly bend the rod in half. Small twitch again. Couple more of them and I'm going to have to check the maggots. Although delicate, they seem to be a bit more deliberate. We are a little bit tangled up there, which might not have helped things. Got a bit of salad on the end as well. We'll get rid of that. And we'll stick a fresh fall in the feeder. Let's up the pace a bit. The hook bait seems alright. So nothing has sucked them dry. I just want to be careful I don't start overshooting that cast. Quick bites. We are in the area. Seems like the ground bait has done the job of drawing some fish in. seems like if I chuck it literally anywhere else, it's not working as well. Okay, still got plenty of maggots on there. Let's waste no time. Oh, that's a bad cast. That could be a rig ender. Ooh, nearly hit you in the face. Still got a hook on. That's how the pros do it, brother. That is how the pros do it. Is it bent out of shape? No, of course not. When you get it stuck in a tree, whip it out. Be fast. Whoosh, like that. That was like Indiana Jones, mate. That wasn't like a man with a fishing rod. That was like a man with a bull whip. Right. I know we're excited, but let's settle it down a little bit and get it right. When we were in, I think, oh, it might have come off. Way better than it was on the float. I can tell you that much right now. Probably have more bites now today already than we did in that entire session. But I said it on that session, you know, it could have been the way the weather was the night before when we had a big downpour of rain. Really clouded the river up, really got the flow going through strong. Now it's settled down a bit, although it's not boiling hot out here. Just the slight gentler flow seems to be giving the fish confidence to go out on an adventure more than trying to save their energy from fighting a strong current like that. Who knows, might even get a pike on the other rod with a bit of luck. Bites again immediately. Small twitchy stuff though. Let's put a little trickle out. Not many. We don't want to overfeed. Little and often is the key. And was that the key? That might just have been the key. We have got ourselves the first juvenile chub of the session. So it would have been nice if this was the same size as the perch, but or at least going in that direction, you know. But hey, after all the fish that we've missed, thank God we managed to get another one. Maybe it was just because that hook was a little straight, so fingers crossed now we're knocking to a few more. Slipping back. Doink. So was that what was going on, was it? Let's have a look, shall we? Stick another fresh one on there. And we'll get a feeder full on the go. And then we'll sit here for another 2.5 hours, getting bite after bite after bite with no fish. You can probably see now, sun is definitely starting to do a disappearing act. Come on now, Rod. No. Come on. You don't want to be messing me about now, do you? There we go. You gotta love it when the line twists around the end, don't you? You gotta love it even more when you don't notice it before you go to cast out, and then you do cast out, and it lands by your feet in a big splash. Right, here we go, same spot again. Nice, avoided the tree as well, even better. feed has settled down a bit. Let's raise the rod up a touch. Ooh, nearly hit that. I should have hit that. No, not convinced. Weird. Again, good bites. Very good bites and no result. Maybe it's just my reactions. Maybe it's, you know, because I'm getting older. I'm not quite as matrixy as I used to be. Zip. Not convinced with that cast, but we'll see what it brings. We've got something here, but we shouldn't have. Another Percy. Maybe should have netted that one, but... So that's weird again, another bite that didn't really look like much. Not quite as big as the last one we had, but again, still not the smallest one that we've ever had out of here. But there's something just weird going on with these bites, because like that didn't even register with this, you know, but yet we're still getting lots of twitchy bites. So I think I'm going to just make some adjustments to my hook link, maybe make it a little bit shorter, and see if that helps matters. Okay, slip this guy back. Again, not bad. I had to think twice about whether or not I should net that one, but right now I'm just going to shorten this hook link, I think. Take the safety off. Drink. Right, let's get a worm. Let's give me some line to play with, shall we? Okay, this sounds more promising, doesn't it? Yeah, it does sound more promising. I ain't sure I've actually hooked this fella. He might actually just have the bait in his mouth. No, bait's come off. He's still there. Whoa, there, guy. Whoa, he's only little. But again, because these temperatures aren't freezing cold, they've got a bit more pep, a bit more attitude. Whoa! A pike, they fight so well when they can be bothered. Let's move that out of the way. And it looks like, oh, it looks like the circle hook's done exactly what I wanted it to do. Get in that net, will ya? Lovely. This circle hook has done exactly what I wanted it to do. Right in the scissors of the pike. A little jack pike. Again, it just seems that we're not knocking into any adults yet from down this end. But I know for sure 100% that there's some big old monster pike in the Thames. Something that would quite easily try and take something like this for its dinner. But I'm really glad that the circle hooks have done exactly what I wanted them to do. So no further ado, Let's get this little fella back. Nice. Now, of course, the only trouble I've got now is I ain't got any bait to chuck it back out there. So hopefully, actually, I bet I can't. I can just see the bait that I had drifting over. I bet I can't reach it though. I definitely ain't going to be able to get in there this time around. Nah, it's just too far. Trouble is before I could have got in here, but with my waders on. But now the river's up a bit, I don't think I'm going to be able to get in there without swamping me waders. That's a bit of a bummer. But hopefully, you never know, we might get ourselves a bait in a minute once we sort this other hook link out. I did honestly think when I had that smaller chub earlier that maybe I should keep hold of it just in case, but you know, I don't really want to be slaughtering fish for no reason. Even though I am more than entitled to my rod license, your rod license, anyone's rod license does allow you to keep a certain amount of fish from the river. Quite a few, to be honest with you. If I wanted to take that pike and eat it, providing he was of a correct size, I would quite easily have been entitled to take him home and cook him. However, I'd rather have a nice piece of white flaky cod, if I'm honest. Right, now how far did I actually get with this? I put the swivel on, that's good. So, oh, I did actually put a worm on. So now I've had that, I'm almost thinking that maybe, I'll tell you what, we'll give one, no, we won't. We're not even going to put this worm on. We're going to put the maggots back on and hopefully we'll be able to get a bait to put back on that. Because I was literally just thinking to myself, it's sort of getting to that time where you would expect to get a pike. And if I had another bait, I wouldn't be surprised if something eventually jumps and snatches that one that's floating around over there. It's a shame because that only literally come off just as I went to go and put him in the net. It would be nice if I could get a bait to perhaps get another one in. Back to the twitchy bites. The only trouble is now if I have hooked something. Oh, this could be ideal. I've actually foul hooked him, look. That's an omen, innit? Foul hooked him straight in the gut. I think that's a sign, at last. Some actual luck going our way, because there's no way that I would have hooked that in the mouth. I don't want to put this, I'm going to have to, because I don't want to drop this bait back in the bloody water. Get up here. I don't think that that size 12 would have gone in his mouth, to be perfectly honest with you. So to have actually just foul hooked him in the gut, that is lucky. Not for him, because he's about to go on here. Now the question is, I think what I might do is actually keep him wiggling. He's not very big, it's just don't know how much of a racket it's going to make on this alarm. Straight in the tail. We'll see. I'm not going to whack this out massively far. Just in the same spot we just had that last one. Hopefully he'll stay on and not wiggle off the hook. What I don't want is it drifting too far to my right hand side where that great big tree is, because it wouldn't be the first time I've been snagged in there. Tighten down to that. Shut up a minute. Hopefully he don't make too much of a racket on there. We can get back on the feeder. Rodney, careful now, there's an hook here with a bunch of maggots on it. Don't go swallowing that up. That couldn't have been any luckier, hooking that fish like that. Isn't it crazy that a couple of weeks ago, it'd still be daylight. When it's dark, it just feels late, doesn't it? No matter what time it is. Anything? Yes. And is this a gudgeon? It is. Come here, little guy. A little gudgeon. The first gudgeon I've had all year long. And if these guys just grew to 10 pound, they would be an absolutely amazing little fish. It is literally a barbel in miniature. It's got his little barbels there, real sensitive for going around on the bottom and looking for food, especially of course under the cover of darkness where it's not going to be able to see anything under there, but he still managed to find my little hook bait. So on that note guys, I think this is going to be the one that ends the show tonight. It's really quiet, you know, I'm barely getting any bites, and I will just chuck this little guy back. Another under average day on the river, and it really feels like I'm just repeating myself when I say that, because so far this year it's been under average on pretty much every single trip we've had. We can only really now sort of compare the trips that we've had this year as to what's an average and what's an under average day and what's an over average day, because the fishing compared to what the fishing used to be many years ago when I fished this river, it's nowhere near that standard. Like I said, that's the first gudgeon I've had this year. There was a time when you'd get nothing but gudgeon all day long. The roach again didn't show up today at all, not in the daytime, not in the night time, not on the maggots. And the gutting thing about it is of course we had that really nice perch. I say really nice, I mean, you know, an okay sized perch to kick the session off, which really got the anticipation flying that we was going to have a good session. And it just sort of dwindled down from there again. So I think the weather being a bit colder and whatnot, you know, it's really knocking them smaller fish out the way, and the bigger fish are just not quite ready to get out on the feed. I think what we need to do at some point or another is risk a blank and, you know, get 2 rods out there on the bottom, on the meat, try and get ourselves a barbel or a decent chub that way, because on the maggots now it's just not happening and the big perch aren't showing up. But I mean, you know, like I've said before, this ain't carp fishing, so just because it's getting colder and because winter's coming doesn't mean it's a complete write-off. Whereas if you was carp fishing, you'd feel really lucky to get yourself a fish. They're more of a summertime fish. But it's just worrying. Again, the roach are no show today whatsoever. A couple of juvenile sized chub, but nothing that's even a pound, you know what I mean? And the same goes with the pike. Although the pike gave me a decent fight and I thoroughly enjoyed it, still a juvenile tiny pike really, considering what I know for a fact is in here because I've caught them before in the past. So a bit of a bummer, but is it going to mean that when we eventually get something decent that it's going to make it all worth it? At this rate, it's going to have to be something pretty special to turn this whole experience around. But again, I've said it before, I knew it was going to be a challenge, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. And hopefully at some point later on in the year we will get rewarded. But unfortunately today is just another day's fishing, innit? You know what I mean? You know what I mean, because you've been there yourself. So until next time, guys, you know the score by now. I be Mark Payne. This be taking on the Thames, because that is exactly what it is. It's taking this son of a bitch on. I will see you later.